Well, hello, everybody. I guess it's time for us to start. And I wanted to tell you that I'm Marianne Clyde. I am the chair of the Fauquier Chamber of Commerce. And one reason why I am so excited to be chair of the Fauquier Chamber is number one, because it's a great organization. But the real reason is because it's the home of the Women's Business Council, which was founded by Priscilla Hoddle. And you know, we've got a great reputation to uphold. We have the best programs, the best speakers, and the greatest attendance. So with that in mind, now the pressure's on for all of you to maintain our great reputation. And I am just delighted to give you Priscilla.
Thank you, Marianne. We're very proud of you and all you've done for the chamber, and you're leading us with just great integrity and enthusiasm, and we can't thank you enough. Again, my name is Priscilla Hoddle. I'm the chairman of the Women's Business Council for 2021, and I am delighted to welcome all of our participants today, with folks coming from all over the state of Virginia, as well as Texas and Florida, and even as far away as Zimbabwe, South Africa. Thank you for joining us. I would like to recognize our executive committee of the Women's Business Council and thank them for all the work they're doing. Anita Sherman, co-chair, Dawn Watton, Elizabeth Rose, Gloria Williams, sponsor chair, Jan Sutton, Lisa Burnside, Liz Johnson, co-chair, Marianne Clyde, Sarah Yackel, Virginia Ward, and Carlton Shutt. I would also like to thank the chamber board members that have joined us today as well. Welcome. And of course, a huge thanks to the chamber team, Carlton, Ginger, and Kelly, for all of their hard work in making our event happen today. This council was actually formed 11 years ago by a group of women dedicated to the purpose of the Women's Business Council with three goals. One, to accelerate the advancement of women in business, be they entrepreneurs, women business owners, or leaders in corporations. Two, to identify and overcome barriers that block women from moving forward through targeted education and information-rich programs. And three, to increase the executive networking proficiency and effectiveness by creating opportunities for women to put networking into action. And we are not just about women. We are about everyone, and we welcome participation from everyone. Again, thank you for joining us. I would now like to introduce Gloria Williams, firm administrator of the law firm of Mark B. Williams and Associates, and our sponsorship committee chair, who has the great honor of recognizing our sponsors. Gloria?
Thank you. Our sponsors are so important because, as Priscilla said, we have worked to provide programs that enhance your professional development, are motivational, and without our sponsors, we could not do that. So here are the folks who are supporting the Women's Business Council in 2021. Appleton Campbell, Ashwell and Ashwell, Atlantic Union Bank, Be the Change Foundation, Blazer Physical Therapy, Carmen Rivera State Farm Insurance, Country Chevrolet, Discovery Publications, Fauquier Health, Fauquier Times, Genesis Home Improvement, Golden Rule Builders, Gulick, Carson and Thorpe, Home Sweet Home Improvements, Hoddle and Associates, Jewel Technical Consulting, Lisa Burnside with Truist Bank, Marianne Clyde with Business Your Way, Mark B. Williams and Associates, Marshall Consulting Group, Meridian Financial Partners, Mountain View Marketing, ND Green Esquire, our speaker today, Novak, Piedmont Fine Properties, Sherry Goodwin with Jager 2, Smith Midland, Spaces Organized and Styled, the Fauquier Chamber's Tuesday Lead Share, Updegrove, McDaniel, McMullen, and Chiquetto, UVA Community Credit Union, and Warrington Auto. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate your support.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have all of you here today. Please be sure to put your contact information in the chat so that you can connect after the event, schedule one-to-ones, explore collaborative opportunities, and learn about each other's businesses. Please be sure you save the chat before the end of today's event so that you have that information. It's my pleasure to introduce today my friend and colleague, Nancy Green. Nancy's going to be talking with us about how to tap into our CEO power. And she's going to be giving us the tools we need to achieve our corporate visions. Nancy is a no-nonsense leading business and employment lawyer with her practice in Fairfax, Virginia. Nancy has been working with startups and multi-million-dollar companies for more than 25 years. She is passionate about empowering and educating business owners. Nancy makes legal information easy to understand, and she provides key insight into critical areas of business. Nancy's best-selling book, Navigating Legal Landmines, A Practical Guide to Business Law for Real People, her Legalese free videos, and her features on syndicated podcasts and blogs showcase the common mistakes that cause the demise of businesses and destroy them and how we can avoid them. Please join me in welcoming our speaker today, Nancy Green. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Thanks for that introduction. I am so excited to be here with you today and talking about really how to step into your CEO power and take your business to the next level. If people could put in the chat, how many of you use the title of CEO already? So if you can shout out in the chat that you're using that title or not for your business. Okay. As Liz said, I am attorney Nancy Green. I have been working with businesses of all sizes for about the last almost 26 years. I started with a small boutique firm in Tyson's Corner. And what they don't tell you at law school, and they don't tell you at your first firm, is it took far too long to figure out. It's you're really an entrepreneur when you start a practice, a civil side or criminal side, when you don't go in-house. So I had to do all the things that the business clients that I was working with did in terms of developing my business, networking, making the mistakes that, sometimes happen as we go along. And as I was leaving that first firm after 12 years with them, because I had gone to the managing partner and said, hey, I'd like to learn how to manage a firm so that when you retire in a decade or so, there's value here that you can continue on with it. He made the comment that he didn't think I had the ability to manage a firm, and that was pretty much the end of my career there, because I didn't want to be at a place that didn't see any value in my continuing. And at that 12 years into practice point, I really started looking at my cases and my clients and my women business owners particularly, and was finding that a lot of us start our businesses to serve some purpose, right? Other than just generate money. And sometimes we get into it so quickly that it was a side hustle that grew, or, we started it and we weren't sure if it was going to work. So we didn't take all the time we needed to get it set up right. And now we're 2, 3, 5 years in, and we're starting to hit a pretty rough road on the business. So I refocused my practice to work primarily with women-owned businesses. I do still work with guys, and but really working with women-owned businesses is where sort of my heart is, and that's through all phases of development. And one of the things I work with clients on is how to step into that role of being a CEO when you've been an entrepreneur and business owner for a while. How do you take that next step? And today, the time we have, some of you are going to get exactly what you need. Some of you are going to need a further discussion. My information is in the chat, so you can reach out to me as well afterwards. All right. So really, what is a CEO? What does a CEO do? Is it just, fancy titles, or is there more? And the answer is there's more. Back in 2015, there was a movie called The Intern. Anne Hathaway represented, was the actress for the main character, one of the main characters, Jules. And Jules had taken her company About the Fit and done some really remarkable things with it. And at the stage in the company and the stage of the movie, and one of the driving questions in the movie is, should she be the CEO of her own company? So I want to play you a little bit of that clip.
They would like us to consider the possibility of meeting with some potential CEOs.
Wow. I did not see that coming. Why? Am I too inexperienced in running a business? I didn't go to Harvard. My methods aren't by the book. I mean, isn't that how we got here? Really? I need adult supervision? Could we be doing better? We hit our 5-year goal in 9 months.
Exactly. Jules, we can't keep up with our own success. You know that. You're an hour late to every meeting. We have a name for it. Jules Standard Time. And look, I get it. There's only so many hours in the day. We're all playing catch up. Our tech guys work until 2, 3 in the morning. Customer service is slammed. We're running out of inventory. We've got shipping issues and programming problems. And the bigger we get, the more complicated it's going to get.
But isn't this what a startup is? What? Say it. What is everyone so worried about?
That it's all going too fast and it could get away from us. Our investors just think that a seasoned CEO could take some things off your plate. That's all. Just free you up to do what you do great. You come up with the ideas and let somebody else make the trains run on time.
But Cameron, this new person.
Okay, so what I like about that clip is Jules is really wrestling with the difference between being the business owner and stepping into that CEO role. She's asking, what am I not doing right? What do the investors not see that I am in terms of CEO? Why are they looking for basically a boss for me? And part of what you'd seen in the movie beforehand is she was actually answering customer services calls as opposed to making the buses run on time, right? So a CEO, if you've read E-Myth, and if you haven't, I really suggest it to you. They break down sort of the skill sets to be a successful business owner and CEO into 3 personalities, really. The tactician, the technician, the one who does the services, the manager who's in charge of getting everything documented, and then the entrepreneur who's really in charge of the big vision. That CEO role is really those last 2, the manager and the entrepreneur, with a little bit of the technical person put in there as well. But your focus completely shifts when you move from business owner delivering services to CEO delivering strategy. So how do you become, and how do you step up and step into your power as a CEO and go from the crazed, harried, everyday chaos that business owners face, and that Anne Hathaway's character was facing in The Intern, to really being that polished CEO? There's really sort of 3 things that you need to do to tap into your CEO power. And we're going to talk about them today. First being step up, step into it and own it. We're going to talk about 3 skills that a CEO must have to help their business thrive. And CEOs don't do this alone. None of us do this alone. How CEOs create their dream teams. right? So how many, like I said, I asked you at the start, how many of you wear that CEO title for your business? What's the first way you're going to step up, right? If you're not using it, you should really we should really be using that when you step up. And you have to ask yourself, or are you building a job? Or are you building a business? And there's nothing wrong with either approach, but you need to be conscious of which one you're in. So if you really want to be building a business and the job looks a lot more familiar to you, then these are some of the areas you have to shift. So in a job, work stops when you do, right? If you cannot leave your business, you have a job, right? If the money stops flowing, if the management stops flowing, it's a job. Your income can be solely dependent on you doing all the tasks. This is on your back work. So as a lawyer, there's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so many billable hours in a day. So my income, my business growth is limited by what I can do as the only body. People who have jobs tend to be more distractible, right? I really know I need to be working on doing my standard operating procedures for the admin position. Oh, but wait, there's an SEO thing over here. I want to go talk to the person who's doing the social media because that's much more fun. The success when you're building a job is not repeatable because it's not systematized. And what a business does is it grows value, and it grows value because someone else can come in and repeat your success. And where you're focused on the delivery, right? You're more in that job mindset. When you shift into a business in the CEO mindset, you can detach from the job. In fact, you need to at times, right? So that means if I'm off doing a networking event or a conference in another state, business keeps running without me. You're leveraging other people's work and other people's time for your income, right? So as you grow your business, if you're in social media marketing, it starts as you, and then you add someone to the team, and then you add someone to the team, right? That's building a business and leveraging other people's work and time. You've made the systems, right? Your success is repeatable and systematized. So you're not dependent on a particular person. If they go out the door, if your best ever, graphics designer leaves, you need to be able to replace them. And that means you need to have that job and position systematized. Those systems are actually what people buy, that in your client list when you sell. Those systems have inherent value, right? Think of McDonald's. The reason Ray Kroc was able to make McDonald's such a massive success is any McDonald's you went into and ordered a hamburger, the pickles were all placed on the hamburger in the same spot, 3 pickles. Yeah, I know, I worked at McDonald's when I was a kid. But it's repeatable, right? It has inherent value. Whether or not you're going to franchise or go for the McDonald's level world domination doesn't matter. Your business needs to be systematized to grow value. And you as the CEO need to be focused on that vision and strategic plans. Jules in the intern was talking about, we hit our 5-year goals in 9 months. Well, she had to set those goals, right? That's part of what a CEO does. So stepping into your CEO power, right, includes, as crazy as it sounds, the ability to say no. I've had the privilege of knowing Ken Cragen, who for a long time was a Hollywood agent and producer and music producer. He is one of the driving forces behind the We Are the World recording and event. His next event or next project was Hands Across America. And yes, back in 1986. For all of you who don't remember back in 1986, Hands Across America literally was what the picture looks like. It was an idea of having a chain of people holding hands across this country. And because Ken had been so successful with We Are the World, they were getting offers left, right, and blue to participate in Hands Across America or provide them press or give swag. So those people could be promoted with his event. And this is why having that goal and vision matters, right? The vision was a line of people across the country. The goal was fill the line. So every offer that came in to Hands Across America got vetted on that criteria. Is doing this something that will fill the line? Will it meet our goals? Will it meet our visions? And if the answer was no, as lovely and as tempting as that offer was, they had to pass. It didn't fit the corporate mission. It didn't fit the vision the CEO set. So that's how setting a vision keeps your company on course. You need to create systems and procedures for a sound foundation, right? If your employees and contractors really need to be creating those standard operating procedures for their jobs so they are replaceable and reproducible. And when you go, it's everything from as someone walks in, if you've got a brick and mortar, how are they greeted? How do you follow up with them? All those systems and procedure, that is your job as the CEO to set those visions. Okay. And why I say set your visions, because you are a macro manager, right? I had a business coach when I first started out who was fond of saying you can't see the picture when you're the frame. I forget who she originally kidnapped that saying from, but the problem with business owners is we want to be in the middle of that picture, right? There's no perspective, there's no seeing the frame. When you go to a museum, right, the artwork is up on the walls and they want you to be at least 6 feet back so you can take in the whole picture and appreciate it. When we micromanage and dive straight in, we're undercutting what our staff is doing. We're undercutting their faith and responsibility. And you're so close to what's going on a day-to-day basis, you really lose the ability to focus on that bigger goal. If your goal was in 2021, we're going to have $500,000 of gross revenue, right? You've set the procedure, you've set how our team is going to do it. You need to be looking at it and saying, we're coming up on the 6-month mark. Have we hit it? No, we're only at 200,000. Okay, we need to step up, right? You need to be giving that guidance on where you're going and how you're getting there and trusting your team to get it done. Don't get in the weeds with them. So CEOs have really sort of 3 top core strengths that I've noticed in both my clients and in studying successful CEOs. You can look and there's thousands, but they tend to break down into these 3 categories, right? And they directly relate to what your role is. So again, your role is business development process, organizational strategy, management strategy, people strategy, marketing, and systems strategy. You notice none of those things say delivering product, right? Because your job as CEO is to plan for implementation and plan how these strategies are going to come out and set those goals and guidelines. And in doing that, right, you need to show your team leadership. And we're going to dive into these a little bit more in just a second. Foresight and adaptability. And this last one seems counterintuitive, which is humility. And we'll explain why that's probably one of the most important skills you can have as a top CEO. Okay, leadership. Your company is looking to you. Buck stops with you. So not only do you create that company vision, you're the keeper of it. You're the one who is setting and becoming that role model for your employees and contractors to live up to meet the vision of the company. It is your job to think strategically in terms of where are we going next? What's developing? This rollout has got some bumps. How do we clean them up? What's the next thing we need to roll out? Right. Grand chess masters, right? The great masters are 5 to 10 moves in advance. The grandmasters are 10 to 15 moves in advance. And your job as the leader is really to be strategically thinking about 5 steps ahead of where your business is, minimum. As I said, no is something that you need to get comfortable with as a leader. And you need to be a great communicator. And one of the things people hear when you say that to them is, okay, I need to be clear, I need to be concise, I need to be able to convey my thoughts both in writing and when I'm speaking to everyone so we are all on the same understanding. And that's part of it. the part that tends to get forgotten is you also have to be a great listener as part of communicating, right? So you can't just kind of tune out and let the person reporting to you drone on until you can get to your points. You really need to engage with them and listen, because your customers, your employees, your vendors, they're all going to tell you what's important to them if you listen. So second point was foresight and adaptability. You need to be monitoring the developments in your field. So for example, for me, I need to be looking at what other business law firms are doing, whether they're out on social media, are they over on Clubhouse, goodness gracious, or are they over on LinkedIn? Are they using videos? What are they posting? To keep myself top of mind and keep my name recognition out. And also, if someone figures out a better way to slice a loaf of bread, I need to be learning from that. Right. As the CEO, you always need to be willing to change your mind with new data. So if 2020 was probably about the perfect example of changing course constantly, because the conditions on the ground kept changing. Right. So we went from the office, now everyone's home, now we're trying to integrate back into the office. How are we changing? How have we delivered? What did we do that worked? That needs to be continued. What didn't work that we need to change or stop? So always flex that. So if your goal again was 2021, $500,000, we're almost at the halfway point. That should be 250,000 in the business's pocket. If we're at 200, right, you need to be doing the, okay, I'm not changing the goal, but I may need to take extra steps, right? Always change your mind with new data. We focus on the positive. We have a tendency to do the opposite. For example, if your goal was to increase revenue 100%, so 2020's revenue was $500,000, and now you're going into 2021 and you're looking to hit $1 million of gross revenue. And we get down to the end of 2021 and it's only 750,000. We tend to beat ourselves up that we missed the 250,000 that was part of the goal and not realize we just increased profitability or revenue by 50%. And that's huge. And we need to celebrate that. And we need to redirect our teams to that when they're getting dispirited, right? There's always a lesson to be learned. And that's your job as the CEO, even in the worst apparent disasters, right? There's always things that you guys did, that your team and you did well, that you can build on. And then you have to be willing to take calculated risks. You're the policymaker, you're the decision maker. And that's not, jump blindly and throw money at things. That's, I've got a new product. We've sort of tested it out. It seems to be working. Let's go put it into effect and figure out whether or not it does. You cannot grow a business and not take risks. Okay. The other thing is humility. And like I said before, this is probably the most important thing really great CEOs do. They check their ego at the door. And what do I mean by that? They're not the smartest person in the room at all. They find really amazing, smart people and listen to them. When you're the smartest person in the room is all about you. It gets very boring. It really should be what you can do for your business, your customers. And that means really getting people who are excellent that you can rely on. Best CEOs embrace lifelong learning. They're always either hearing a podcast or reading books or connecting with other people to find out what they did. They're putting the humanity side of it first, right? Show respect to your team. Not only just trust them, but appreciate them, right? Your job is to bring those people together and listen to them. So when you've got a issue coming up for the company or you're about to launch something, right? Talking to your team and customers about where did we really rock? Where do we really need to improve? How do we solve this problem? They'll tell you. And you have to, again, take your ego out of it and listen openly. You're ultimately the one that makes that decision, but use your team, customers, employees to inform those decisions, right? The downside, the risk of being a solopreneur is you get to talk to yourself a lot, and you get to talk yourself into some really horrible ideas, right? So that's why having that humility to go out to other people and say, I think I messed up. How do I do this, right? So calling for help, calling that audible is a key strength of really good CEOs. Okay. So how do you create that awesome team? Well, you as a CEO, you're seeking magic, not perfection, right? Let the people you hire pursue perfection. You're trying to get that team dynamic going and the amazing things that happen. Look at where you want your business to be at the end. If you want it to be a $5 million company, that has certain requirements in terms of staffing. Do your hypothetical organizational chart, right? Set it out. If you're doing an engineering company and you're doing build design or third-party inspections or construction, right? Have those divisions. Who do you need ultimately, right? When you first start your business, all those boxes are you. It's very sad, but it's true. Who do you need? Because that tells you how to hire strategically. Right? And you are always hiring. You are always looking for great talent. If you've got the most amazing chief financial officer that you can't imagine replacing, you're also not guaranteed to keep them, right? Life happens. Sometimes people leave us that they don't control, we don't control. You need to always be looking for great talent. And you need to assess who you hire based on the needs of the business. One of my friends runs a multi-million-dollar networking company, and her at the time, head of all things graphic, right? She was handling podcasts, she was handling photo campaigns, she was handling video production, came to the CEO and said, hey, I need help, I need an assistant. And the CEO listened to why and said, okay, understand, employee, that to hire your assistant, that costs the company all in $60,000 for the level of person you want, which means we have to generate an extra $150,000 to justify it. Come with me for a plan on how we're going to use this position to generate the money, and then I can get you that position. And that allows you to be strategic in who you hire when, and not just, oh, it looks like I want a social media person, let me go do that. Ultimately, they split her job because it was too much for one person. Have your people create standard operating procedures. Your independent contractors should not be getting paid unless they're handing you a document that tells you how they created what they did for you. Same thing for your employees. You can say people hate doing these, and that's absolutely true, but they'll do them if that's conditioned on paying. So your employees pay, your independent contractors pay, all should be contingent on getting these standard operating procedures to you. In addition to your development team, your production team, you really need an advisory team, right? A mentor who's someone in your field or a related field that's where you want to go, a business coach, an IT professional. You should not be figuring out why your computer is not talking to Microsoft anymore. It's just terribleness. Same thing with bookkeeping. You should not be doing the day-to-day bookkeeping entry. You should have an accountant. You should have a lawyer. And I don't just say lawyer because I am one, because your lawyer really needs to be just like your accountant, helping you make decisions along the way and have the knowledge about your business before a problem starts so that you can resolve it more efficiently and with less heartburn down the road. Okay. Because I am really committed to having women businesses succeed in this council, I am also one of the skills that we couldn't talk about today that a CEO needs to have is the ability to negotiate. So if you go to my website, which is on the screen, ndglaw.com at negotiator.advantage, I'll drop that into the chat as well. You can download my free 12 strategies to negotiate better. All right. So how do you tap into your CEO power? Own it. Create a sound foundation with systems and procedures. Think strategically, not granularly. Embrace no, the complete sentence. Be an amazing communicator. Change course and take calculated risk when needed. check your ego at the door. Your team wants to work for you because they know you are committed to them just as much as you are committed to this business. Always be looking to hire great talent, put together an amazing advisory team. So we've got some time for questions. So I'm going to stop share so I can see the chat and we can go. If anyone has questions, please put them in the chat. And then I'll put the site up again for the download. But I'm attorney Nancy Green, helping you guys tap into your CEO power. Questions? Thanks, Sherry. Yes, no is a complete sentence. Is a complete sentence. The book I mentioned earlier was called E-Myth and E-Myth Revisited. E-Myth also, an E-Myth is entrepreneurial myth, but the name of the book is E-Myth. They have additional books that are by business. So there's an E-Myth attorney now, but they are hugely helpful in how to reframe your mindset to systematize and why systematizing makes sense for your business. Thanks, Kim. All right. Let's see. Thanks. So I have an example of a business or CEO that changed its mind with new data? Lots. Let me try to go back. So even if you think about Amazon, right? Amazon was an online bookstore. It was an online bookstore. Does anyone remember it as just an online bookstore? No, it changed its model because it could expand. And what it realized is it was a giant distribution center. And that's why Amazon now has what it does. Even with, and I'll take an example out of my career. I had planned with another firm to roll out essentially 4 products with them. We attempted to roll out the first one. The other partners wouldn't support it. And I had to put basically everything on hold and change focus because there was no sense rolling out the other initiatives when we hadn't completed the first one. And you can see, even looking at your own business in this last year, all the shifts and changes you've made in your plans and structures based on the new rules that we're playing by and how they constantly change. Okay. Yeah, Marie, you and I both have been around for a while that we recognize Amazon as an online bookseller and not the monster it is.
Okay, Nance, do you see any more questions at this point?
I don't. I think I got them all.
Okay. Well, I want to say, Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with all of us how to tap into our CEO power. You really shared terrific information, and I know everyone at our event today agrees. So thank you once again. Let me now introduce our co-chair of the Women's Business Council, Anita Sherman of the firm Just Right. Anita will share with all of you exciting news about future upcoming monthly events. Anita? Ginger, do you have Anita?
She does now.
Yay.
Okay. Okay, first of all, a big shout out to Nancy. What a gift. Thank you so much. A lot to learn from that. As Priscilla said, I'm Anita Sherman. I'm a co-chair of Women's Business Council, and we've got something new starting this year. We call it Coffee and Connect. It's going to be short, succinct, a brief half hour that you can carve out. And we want it, I'm calling it almost like a Zoom brew. So you can bring your cup of coffee or tea or a drink, and we're going to chat. It's going to be fun. It's going to be informative, but it's also going to be a value added choice that you can make in the mornings. Things like time to open the pool, understand there's a chlorine shortage. What's that about? Did you have travel plans last year? Maybe this is the year to see the world. What about this seller's market? Is there a bubble that's going to burst? We're going to talk about that and lots more. And when is this going to happen? The debut is Wednesday, June 23rd from 10:30 to 11. It's free. Anybody can come. You do need to register at the Fauquier Chamber site. We hope to see many of you there. Again, the first one is June 23rd, Wednesday at 10:30. And let's see who shows up to our first Coffee and Connect. Hope all of you and more. Okay, back to you, Gloria, because as I'm thanking Nancy, I'm getting a real boost of deep appreciation for all of our sponsors. Gloria?
I am unmuted and I think there I am. Am I here? There I am. Okay. Once again, I just want to say thank you so much to our sponsors. Kelly from the Chamber, thank you so much. She will roll the screen and you should look forward to a follow-up email to all the participants, and that will include our sponsors' names. So again, we appreciate you all. And Priscilla, if you'll just finish it up. Thank you.
Ginger, can
Priscilla?
you start me? Hang on, Gloria. Okay, here I am. Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. And thank you all for attending our Women's Business Council event today. And we certainly hope you've enjoyed our presentation. Our next event is July 21st, and it is the power of your mindset shift from survive to thrive. We have two speakers at this event, Scott Wayne and Adrienne Johnson, and we look forward to having you join us. Remember, of course, to save the chat. Hit the three dots on the chat and save the chat. It's as simple as that. You can also register for our next event. One last thing, again, thanks to the fabulous folks at the Fauquier Chamber, Carlton, Ginger, Kelly, for all you did for us today, Mary Ann, for kicking it off for us, the Fauquier board members, we appreciate you. Thanks again and see you all in July.